Hello and welcome to Fair Rugby on Fair Sport. For today's URC quarterfinal review, eight teams have become four rather, with the quarterfinals out the way and the semi-finals this weekend. One in Dublin, one in Cape Town, and that will then decide who will take part in the URC Grand Final on the 27th of May. And it's going to be very interesting to see what we see this weekend in terms of home teams, in terms of whether there could be any upsets. There were probably two upsets this weekend in terms of teams who sort of finished lower than each other beating, but one sort of really big one, and then one which probably wasn't as unexpected. But yeah, before we look at some of the results and what they kind of mean, please do smash like on the video. Please do subscribe to the channel as well. So first up, we did have the upset of the weekend. Ulster going down to Connacht rather, and going out. What a performance that's from Connacht at the Kingspan Stadium, 10 points to 15. A combination of a really good performance from Connacht and a pretty dreadful, I wouldn't say dreadful, but a poor performance from Ulster. It was a game where handling was pretty optional. The skills on display weren't great, but it kind of a test match feel at times where it was so intense. It was so sort of on a knife edge the entire day. The entire game, you sort of never really knew which way it was going to go, which is exactly what you want to see from this sort of playoff rugby. It was a proper genuine playoff game. I thought that Connacht did very well to stay in the context throughout the game and make sure that this was built a bit of an innings. Ulster almost made a really good comeback in the second half, just not being able to get over the line in the end. Then on Saturday, well, I'll tell you what, it's a scoreline that almost flatters the Bulls a little bit because they were well and truly beaten by the Stormers, who did continue their very impressive form over the Bulls with a 33.31 victory down in Cape Town. I thought the Stormers looked very close to the best that they've been this season. And in the fan forum last week, we said that the Stormers hadn't looked particularly good in the last month, and now everybody's having an absolute heart attack about the fact that we said that. But I maintain they haven't. And we said that if Stormers play to what the Stormers can do on Saturday, then they should easily beat the Bulls. But they haven't been playing to the best of their abilities, and then they did. So, and it's funny how that is allowed to happen. You're allowed to not have good games and still then have a good game and then be told you had a good game. But I thought they looked very good. I think that Dion Free being back was a big boost. I think Leon Zas as well looked like he hadn't missed a trick. More importantly, I think with the Stormers, I thought that the halfback pairing really functioned. I thought that Hershey Yankees had a fantastic game, managed the game very well, and Moy Liebach was doing Moy Liebach's things. It was just so comfortable. Cross kicks in behind, controlling the game. He kicked flawlessly off the tee. Very good performance, a complete performance from him. And that's kind of the performance we like to see when thinking about whether he can be a potential Springbok option at 10 or not. As good as the Stormers were, the Bulls, not really at the races, to be honest. Kind of trailed, had a couple of opportunities to try and score a couple of tries, to try and keep themselves in the game. It's not really taking it. And speaking of teams which just didn't pitch up, the Sharks ironically went 5-0 up and then conceded 35 unanswered points against the Leicester side, which did have a lot of rotation, but just punished the Sharks, hammered them, and the Sharks had no answer to them whatsoever. It was an impressive performance from the Leicester side with a lot of rotation. I think they made 8 or 9 changes to starting 15 to the one that actually had beaten Toulouse a week before. So considering, I thought that Leicester looked really, really good, and they continue to be the favourites in the competition. They're going to have an interesting game against Munster this weekend. The Sharks, it's not even just about, yes, there were injuries. There's a lot of reasons why things aren't going well in that union. But for me, on Saturday, they just look completely directionless. As I said, apart from a really good individual try from Grant Williams, it just don't seem to have a plan. They don't seem to know what they're doing. They don't seem to have, structure, a game plan, an answer for anything that Leicester are going to throw towards them. The only sort of thing that we saw from them this weekend was a bit of a rush defense, which functioned for about 10 minutes pretty well. And then just there were so many gaps. Discipline was poor. 2 yellow cards, James Fenter, Marcus Pimpy as well going off. They just were never going to compete with discipline that badly. And then Glasgow Warriors going down to Munster. Now this is an upset in terms of the log position, but 4th and 5th, there wasn't too much between them. Munster are top side. Glasgow Warriors, I tipped them to win because I think that they've been building and improving so much the last few months, and they'll be very, very frustrated to have gone down to Munster, who are a quality side. Let's not pretend that they're a bad side at all. But I think Glasgow Warriors have got everything they needed to have beaten Munster and just didn't get it right in the night. It's cool though from a second fan. Munster. Hopefully RK Stain will be available for the semi-final and for the final and be able to play a bit more rugby. That's probably the big benefit from us South Africans. But it does mean that 3 out of the 4 teams in the semi-finals are Irish. So look at how's that for Irish dominance. Connacht, Leinster, Munster, they're on I think as well. Connacht, the worst Irish side, and in the semi-finals. Ulster, had a better season than them, and then kind of, I wouldn't say choked, but fell down the last hurdle. So the Stormers remain the sort of sole representatives of anyone outside of Ireland. So there will be at least one Irish team in the final. And the question is where the final will be. If Leinster win, the final will be at the Viva Stadium. If they do not win, then the final will be either at the DHL Stadium or at Fulham Park. So that's an interesting sort of prospect as well. So the Stormers are playing for a place in the final, and they won't know if it will be a home final because Leinster must play afterwards. Whereas Leinster are literally just playing for a home final. That's what they're playing. That's on the cards. They know if they win, they get a home final. They can then get. I mean, the nice thing about Leinster is that they're about to play 3 playoff games in a row, all at the Aviva Stadium in the next 3 weeks. If they win the next 3 games, they walk away with 2 trophies. So it's a huge couple of weeks for Leinster. I do expect them to be back to full strength this weekend, and then full strength next weekend, obviously for the final, and full strength once again in the next. So I think the rotation we saw this last weekend. I don't think we'll see some of that sort of rotation this weekend. I do think we'll see a much stronger side being put up by Leinster. Stormers are just going to keep playing their best players, I suppose. Connacht will have to travel down here. Probably arriving in. I think they're still in Ireland. We've actually got a press conference with them today, so we'll see what the story is there. Then they should travel down here. And look, Connacht are a good side, but Stormers should be able to beat them, especially at home. So I think the Stormers, it's theirs to lose in terms of the semi-final. I do think they should be getting to the final at least. And I tell you what, there'll be a hell of a 2 seasons to go and win it, and then even just get to a final. Will cement them as definitely one of the best, if not the best side in the competition, up against Leinster, who are probably the best side in the competition. But yeah, let me know what you thought about the weekend down in the comments below. Please do smash like on the video. Please do subscribe to the channel as well. Thank you very much for watching. My name is Steven, and I'll chat to you soon.